Ocean's 12. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. In this video we are going to be reviewing Ocean's 12, which is the sequel to the absolutely brilliant Ocean's 11. Now I do appreciate the fact that this movie tried to take some risks and do something a little bit different in terms of being located in Europe and also doing a very different kind of heist in this movie, but unfortunately it just wasn't as epic or as sophisticated and awesome and grandiose as the first movie is, and also as much as the third movie is as well. But you know, that being said, it is worth watching and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline point of view, Ocean's 12 is really strong as it has such a killer, brilliant opening whereby the Terry Benedict character, the main villain in the first movie, has been informed about what the Ocean's 11 members did to him in the first movie in terms of conning him out of all of his money from his vault in his casino. And so he tracks them down one by one and demands all of his money back, or else he's going to go to the police. This then leads to the Ocean's 12 band being formed back together again and going on a new mission into Europe and trying to retrieve the funds in a very different heist mission, except this time they are being persecuted by Europol. So the film then explores whether or not they're actually going to be successful in pulling off this new heist and whether or not they're going to be able to get out of the situation that they're in terms of Terry Benedict having his hand over all of them. From a positives point of view, this movie is really cool because there's a new heist mission, new brilliant locations, and some really interesting new characters as well. However, it just wasn't as sophisticated or as fun as the first film was. The Fabergé egg being the main centerpiece of this movie just wasn't that great. And also I just feel like the twist at the end wasn't as impressive as the first movie and the third movie is as well. So from a storyline point of view, while there were some highlights, it just wasn't as great as the other Ocean's movies. So from a cast and characters point of view, the brilliant thing about the Ocean's franchise is that it just has such stellar names associated with this project, and this movie is no different. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we of course have George Clooney, who is playing the lead character of Danny Ocean. He is leading the group and he is also still having his relationship with the Tess character, which is really interesting. We also have Brad Pitt, who is also returning in this movie as the Rusty Ryan character, and unlike in the first movie, this character actually has a lot more of his backstory being explored and also has a new relationship. So definitely is the focus point in this movie in the same way that the Danny Ocean character was in the first film. Next up we have Matt Damon, who is back as the Linus character as well, and he is still the in-training con man within this group, which I think is really hilarious. And like I said in my previous review, his arc throughout the three movies is really great in terms of how he grows in this ability. Next up we have Julia Roberts, who is playing the Tess character, the wife of the Danny Ocean character that also gets looped into the Ocean's crew this time around, and I thought it was pretty hilarious how she's also playing the real life version of the Julia Roberts actress as she was pregnant in real life, so they wrote that into the script, which I thought was really interesting. And also this brings Bruce Willis into this movie, also playing his real version in this movie, which I think is pretty hilarious. Next up we have Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is new to this franchise. She was only in this movie, but she is playing a policewoman that is constantly after the Rusty Ryan character and shares a bit of a backstory with this character, and also goes on a little bit of a romantic relationship journey with this character as well. Next up we have Andy Garcia, who is back as the Terry Benedict character, and I really like the power shift that this character has. In the first movie he was definitely being manipulated and taken advantage of in that film, and this film really returns the power back to him. Next up we have Vincent Cassel, who is playing a character called Tulor, who is another rival to the Ocean's crew in terms of being a brilliant thief himself. So I think he adds a really interesting new dynamic. And then of course we have all of the other awesome Ocean members, which are really rounding off the crew in a really cool way. So from a cast and characters point of view overall, Ocean's 12 is pretty epic. So from a visuals point of view, you know, this film is really cool in terms of being set across all of the different countries in Europe, which makes it really rich, really vibrant, and really nice from a visuals point of view. You know, don't get me wrong, from a visuals point of view and from a cast point of view, this movie is really cool, but unfortunately the actual narrative in this film isn't that strong. But you know, that being said, it looks really, really strong, and I love the fact that they go to Lake Como, which is obviously where George Clooney in real life is based, and I believe that they actually went to his true house and they filmed certain scenes there, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But you know, from a European point of view, this movie looks truly stunning and absolutely brilliant in Ocean's 12. So from a comparison point of view, you know, all of the Ocean's movies are really, really great, so the bar is set really, really high, and I really, really appreciate the fact that they took some risks in this movie, but unfortunately some of them just didn't pay off, as it's just not as epic as the other movies are. And from an Ocean's point of view, I do feel like it's my least favourite entry within the franchise. But you know, that being said, it is a really cool movie in its own right. It's just not as great from a comparisons point of view. So overall, I have to say, you know, Ocean's 12 is worth watching because the cast really do make it what it is. And like I said, from a visuals point of view, it is a true spectacle. Unfortunately, the actual heist mission and the storyline narrative just wasn't as epic as it could have been. I feel like this is why they corrected this in the next movie, which then returned back to basics in terms of being a bit more of a casino heist. But you know, that being said, from an Ocean's 12 point of view, for all of the reasons that I've stated in this review, I have to give it a solid 5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.